Oh boy, it's Thursday. Man, it's Rumor and Innuendo. I'm Dominic D'Angelo. This is Ad Free Shows, and I am here with Robert Karpelis, WD Creative _ish. We got to talk the Dynamite. We got to talk maybe a little Ryan Nemeth, and some CM Punk. But Robert, how are you, man?
I just yawned and hurt my neck.
Ow.
I'm at that age. I am suddenly that guy who hurts himself in incredibly mundane ways. But speaking of incredibly mundane, we will be talking the continent. I like how you call it the Continentai Classic.
Continentai Classic. Is that what I
That's what
said?
you called it in the heading.
Oh, good.
I don't know if that was a typo or maybe it's a Kaientai sponsored tournament. Indeed, we've got some folks joining us live. We'll say hi to Andy Borders, who says, "Good morning, gents." Devin Dowling, Ayo. And Wrestling Old Head says, "Not to deter you gentlemen from Dynamite thoughts at all, as I believe it was great. But how about that Karrion Kross Twitter exclusive? No clue what you're talking about."
Oh, yes, he tagged us in something. I watched a little bit of it. It looked pretty captivating. We should comment on that though tomorrow.
Sorry, what now?
There's like a Karrion Kross a vignette that was posted that it was posted online and
I see Wrestling Old Head tagged us in it.
yes,
I clearly have not been on X to check that out. Neat.
looks good though. That's what you want to see in wrestlers doing that kind of stuff.
So you know what's funny, and I'll get back to saying hello to folks in a moment. It makes me think back to when I was in creative. Vince gave one of his famous ad nauseum gold reach for the brass ring speeches. Yeah, that we need you to step up, because I remember he was sitting on the plane looking at the roster and just like, what are we like? What's going on here? So he gives this brass ring speech trying to motivate certain guys, and the wrong guys took this message. So you get folks who are like, you get a dude like who I absolutely love, like a Nunzio or a Stevie Richards going like, "We got it. Let's get the brass ring." Like, no, this was more for like, hey, it would be great for John Cena and those guys to make sure they're continuing to step up and deliver, but we appreciate the enthusiasm. It's kind of what it feels like with Karrion Kross here. Like, he's putting in all this time and all this effort to put these videos on X, to cut these things when it's probably like the 12th most important storyline on Raw.
It's a lot of content on. We talked about that on Monday too. How there was a lot of stuff going in and out, and a lot to take in. But what we did say too is it made a lot of sense and some building. So hopefully, like they do put a little bit more of a spotlight on it. And but yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's kind of wild to think like the way the Wyatt Six debuted, how it's kind of like a lower card feud right now. So
that's what I said was going to happen from the beginning.
yeah.
I thought there was going to be potential diminished returns with the Wyatt Six, and unfortunately, I was correct, because at the end of the day, when you have the 2 hours of programming they have right now, there's a lot of good storytelling, there's a lot of good wrestling going on Raw, that they don't necessarily have the room every week for the Wyatt Six, and they know Wyatt Six that's not a top tier stable. That's not your main event stable. And they now have a very active main event scene on Raw with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Obviously, they're returning Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Gunther, Finn Balor, Damian Priest. You start stacking all those up, no one's going, you know what this could really use? Dexter Lumis.
Well, it's wild to think too, because back when they were teasing the debut and they did debut, the thought process was this is going to be like a whole company kind of invasion thing, or it almost felt like that, something very, very big. And here it is. It's just like, oh, maybe we'll see Uncle Howdy this week in person, maybe not though.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the vibe when they attacked a bunch of folks at first, and they attacked Gorilla, and then they kind of realized, hey, this is probably something to use sparing.
Yeah.
And we'll get some stuff out of it to fill time until we get to 3 hour Raws again.
It's true. True. And
You
you
know,
know what? Like they've shown up before. Triple H has shown the capability before to heat somebody up immediately, like someone like Bronson Reed. So it's like you can do that with the Wyatt Six at some point too, if you really want to, and make them feel like a big deal again. So
don't see why not. But we're not talking Raw. We're talking as the wrestling old head called it because your typo now. It is now the Cobra Kai and Tai Classic.
yes,
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to wind up going with when we talk about the Dynamite.
yes, Robert. The Dynamite did take place last night, and it was very Continental Classic heavy. The show kicked off with Shelton Benjamin and Kyle Fletcher, and what was a good match. But hey, Fletcher got the underhanded win and is up 6 points to Shelton Benjamin's now 3. So fun opener. Kind of weird though, just two heels going at it. The crowd seemed to be into it though. So initial thoughts on this, Robert?
Man, when we saw the graphic yesterday, don't put the graphic up.
I
My
won't.
neck can't take. I've already hurt my neck from the yawn. I don't need to hurt it from craning to avoid that stupid block in the middle of the screen. When I saw Kyle Fletcher, Shelton Benjamin, I went, okay, this could be good, but I wasn't really sure. Holy hell, did this one blow me away? I
Yeah.
got sucked in right away, and I absolutely loved this match. Yes, it
Hmm.
was heel versus heel. It was in furtherance of the tournament. Shelton was able to play sort of the default babyface in this match. It gave Fletcher an opportunity to shine a little bit as a pure heel. It's clear they're going more and more Randy Orton with the gear,
Hmm.
which is nice. And it gave me the vibe of we used to get in WCW the Dungeon of Doom feuding with the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
And you would sometimes get a match where it was just like Ming versus Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
I was able to just kind of disconnect and enjoy it. I think Fletcher showed a lot in this match. I thought Shelton was off the charts. And Indiana, you guys absolutely brought it during that show. I mean, that was a white hot crowd. I feel bad if we looked it up yesterday. I've already forgotten the name of the town.
Fishers, Indiana. We were
Fishers,
calling it Fisher the
Indiana.
whole time, but it's
Whatever.
Fisher.
There's an S at the end. Home of Michael Andretti, one of the 42 Andretti racing brothers. But yeah, Mario just. Anyway, that would have been a great Blue Chew segue.
Right.
Blue Chew, not a sponsor today, but boy, they get a lot of love on here.
Yep.
But solid opener. I like that Fletcher did the old school cheats win, and that crowd got legitimately angry because I think they got sucked into that match and they wanted to see a finish. Man, it worked perfectly.
It shows what getting a guy in the ring like Shelton Benjamin can do for your product, and like kind of not just elevate, get a crowd into it, but get have somebody like Kyle Fletcher almost like learn from him in certain ways. I'm sure when it comes to working with a guy like that. So really good opener. Yes, and we get that a great follow up here with I know what you love, Robert, is Hook, and Hook being on the microphone comes to the ring, calls out Nick Wayne's challenge for Hammerstein. He said he'd rather fight Wayne's father, Christian Cage, and leave him in worse shape than what they did to his daddy. Christian Cage and Mother Wayne come to the stage, and Nick Wayne and Kip Sapien attack Hook from behind. And then Hook gets the upper hand on both of them, but ultimately gets taken out by Christian Cage, and they appear to break his hand. What did you think of this segment, Robert?
Yous guys messed with my father. Now put him up.
Yeah.
Yep. But don't worry, because after this was a Mercedes Moné promo that made Hook feel like CM Punk.
Oh no. Yes, we did have a Mercedes Moné promo backstage with Renee. She says she doesn't want to hear Camille's name ever again, and that's kind of it. And then, what'd you think of that, there, Robert?
There was an unintentional yawn that sort of was an intentional yawn when I think about it now. I don't care about what's going on with Mercedes Moné and Camille. They were not together long enough for it to have any true impact.
Yeah.
And Mercedes' promos have gotten significantly worse. Her talking about Anna Jay, it feels like they continue to play Mad Libs.
Mhm.
It's just she's going to talk about blank for blank reason to set up for the TBS title. So it could be Thunder Rosa. It could be, oh, remember that Serena D. Britt Baker feud?
Oh yeah, what happened to that?
No clue. Um, it's where there was Sheeta. I'm waiting for Riho to return at some point in time. They just kind of plug somebody in. Even Chris Statlander.
Yeah,
They mentioned it was what considered one of the best matches for the AEW Women's Division of the year, which I agree with. And the follow up for Chris Statlander was
that was it. Nothing.
off TV.
She was mentioned, but that was it. Hey, and Willow Nightingale, she showed up at the end of Full Gear. We haven't seen her either.
I completely forgot that Will Nightingale showed up. That's a good call.
Yeah,
That was weird because it felt like they were bringing her in to balance the Marina Shafir component, and then she never returned.
yeah, that was it. What? Yep.
I'm sure
Yep.
someone's gonna say, "Well, on Rampage, she there was 30 seconds of representation for her." So that may be the case, but I absolutely loved the Julia Hart video for Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, that was good stuff. That was definitely akin to what WWE does in a lot of ways, but in its own unique way. It was really well done, I thought. So yes, that's how you build people. You got want to see that more though with a lot of these talents. Speaking of trying to build talents, we had the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. There was how many men were in this match, Robert?
A dozen.
Yes, correct.
My
And
favorite part was
uh-huh.
realizing that Mark Davis and Butcher are identical twins.
I had to double take. I thought I seriously did not know which one was which for a little bit. But yes, and it came down to Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, the final two, and they will be challenging to next week at Winter is Coming to face MJF for that Dynamite Diamond ring that he has. Uh, any thoughts on this?
It was a battle royal where you knew as soon as they announced that the two winners were going to face each other to face MJF that it was going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole.
Yeah,
There wasn't really much of a surprise there. They did the nice thing of told a story throughout the battle royal where there was a couple of smaller competing stories. So Mark Davis obviously has his issues with the Don Callis family, given everything that happened with, I was going to say Kenny Omega. Wow, with Will Ospreay. But what was nice was to see Brian Cage and Lance Archer as this formidable tag team make it to the end. That made sense. The little top flight tease with Action Andretti. Sure, you got something out of it. You got to the finish that we knew was going to happen. And like I say, sometimes predictable is not bad.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
This needed to end this way. We're going to get to Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, it did its job. I just felt like when in years past these Dynamite Dozen Battle Royals kind of felt like a bigger deal, and this was almost like, oh hey, we got this on the card too, and here comes Adam Cole's the one entrance of the whole Battle Royal. So it just kind of made it in that regard the way it was set up and presented made it feel a little bit lesser than usual. But I'm with you in
I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't give all 12 people a televised entrance. I'll be
well,
honest.
sure,
That would have taken a long time. Again, it was. I think it was fine. It accomplished what it needed to, and it's moving you into what we're going to see next week. Kind of like what we saw last week with the Max Caster Swerve confrontation, leading to Swerve versus Max Caster this week.
Yes, they did a little backstage segment with Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens as well, trying to talk some sense into Max Caster, but wasn't having it. Bowens kind of just was like, whatever, just do it. And then Caster comes out. Swerve is super duper over, and Swerve beats him pretty handedly. After, I don't know what the name of his finish. Oh, house call. It's the house call 3 times on him to get the win, and then adds a little extra after the end with the double stomp. So, what do you think of the presentation of this? How do you like it, Max Caster in this kind of role, and what do you think they're cooking up with Swerve here?
I liked it. I liked that the idea was there's clearly tension between or among the group and the Acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
So Max Caster clearly being the heel of that trio right now, very very similar to what we saw with Xavier Woods going on with New Day. Feed into it and use it to further another story. You needed somebody for Swerve to beat as a rebound from what happened with the Lashley loss at the pay-per-view. So if you're going to feed him somebody where you're advancing two storylines at once. This is exactly what AEW should be doing. It was great. Match was good. Crowd was super hot for it. It made Swerve look like a dominant force again. It made Max Caster look like an idiot. And now you kind of want to see what's going to happen next with the Acclaim. Where is Swerve going to wind up going after this home run segment?
Yeah, I agree. It was good stuff. Next up, Robert, we had
It was an MJF, video.
Yeah. Again, like he's not there, which is always just a head scratcher. I obviously he's filming, but it's just weird he's not there. And but yeah, he basically says that he knows Cole can't beat O'Reilly, and that will be proven next week at Winter is Coming. So, what'd you think of this taped video segment?
They have to stop rehashing this Adam Cole story because it is grim death. The idea of the butterfly effect, I liked it. I liked the notion of, hey, we were the brochachos. Things were doing great when I was champion and you were my best friend. And then you turned on me thinking I was going to turn on you. And now this unleashed Moxley as the champion of the company and the Death Riders. And all this is your fault. I enjoyed the jaundice joke. Wonder where he got that idea from. But I think that reminding people of this Adam Cole story and all the devil stuff and all the convoluted whatever is not doing anybody any favors. I really hope that we get to World's End and it is end of this feud. And then Max can focus on something slightly more important, like literally anything else.
Yeah, no, I'm well over this. They got to move on. It's well past its sell date, and it never really sold very well, anyways. So, we got Jay White battling Pac with Wheeler Utah in his corner, but Jay White gets the win. Ultimately, hard fought match. White hits the Blade Runner to get that win. So, fun stuff to kind of keep things cooking a little bit and cultivate more confrontation after the fact. What did you think of this match? And we'll talk about the segment afterwards.
Match was fine. You know, Pac is sort of the most beatable outside of Wheeler Yuta, obviously, of the Death Riders, but you needed to establish Jay White as a threat, as a threatable. Wow, as a credible threat. I combined it. We turned it into a new word.
Threatable.
It's now the threatable Jay White. That's a good nickname for him. And yeah, you know, it was a physical back and forth match. If Jay White's going to be the next contender going for Jon Moxley, he's got to get a big win over somebody, and theoretically a win over Pac is a big win. The thing that I probably would have swapped is I would have moved this to the main event.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely. It felt like out of place because that segment afterwards, we had Moxley and the Death Riders come down, and Moxley squaring up against Jay White. And here we have a cameraman, a masked cameraman. But before that, though, Hangman Page comes out and stares down Moxley, and that causes a hooded man to come around and choke Moxley with a cord. It is Orange Cassidy. And he is fired up. The brawl breaks out. White and hits Moxley with a Blade Runner after Orange Cassidy hits him with an orange punch, and we get the heels showing some limber tail. So, did you like this? It seems really too soon to bring Orange Cassidy back, in my opinion. But what do you think, Robert?
So, again, this is partially why I think this should have been the main event of this show. Because it was, as Wrestling Old Head points out here, this was a first-time match on AEW TV. Yeah. So it was something you could have definitely built up throughout the show. Secondly, we know that Claudio Castagnoli winds up wrestling Brody King. If Claudio and Brody would have wrestled, it would have explained why Claudio was not here in this segment.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, well, Claudio's in the back when everyone should be focused on whatever their mission is. I think the build, the fact that it was Yuta who gets taken out by Jay White, the crowd really wants to see Marina Shafir get laid out. And I think that's why you need Willow Nightingale, because I don't know if in 2024 the audience is going to be as thrilled to see Jay White take out Marina Shafir. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's something that I think the crowds have been conditioned to not want to see, but we used to see all the time. Stephanie get pedigreed or super kicked or whatever, crowd would pop. So I don't know. That's neither hide nor hair. Yeah, Moxley coming out, the Orange Cassidy reveal. They fed him some sort of blue liquid, which made me think of when the Amazing Jonathan used to drink Windex.
Wait, what's that?
And
What's that reference of?
the Amazing Jonathan, are you
Yeah.
not familiar with him,
No, I'm not.
dude? All right, the show is over. The rest of the show is going to be about the Amazing Jonathan was a comedy magician.
Okay.
You need to YouTube this. You need to find these online. You need to watch these.
Okay.
He is. It's hilarious. It's incredible. It's yes. That should be what that's your new homework.
Okay.
Dom needs to go watch The Amazing Jonathan. Yeah, now we've got some, and then we've got the situation at the end where you've got Hangman staring at Jay White, staring at Orange Cassidy. Where you're like, it's an uneasy alliance.
Yeah.
I I don't mind that. It's like, all right, here are the guys that are going up against it. It's strange bedfellows. We don't like each other, but we hate them. And going off the air with that, boom, that's impactful. Instead, you still had more show.
Yeah.
And you want your final moment to be like, man, I can't wait to see what happens next with these guys. And instead, you still had another like almost hour of television, which included a Jamie Hayter promo
Mm-hmm.
talking about the video. I
What'd you
liked
think
it.
of that? Yeah.
I liked it. I like this idea of like, oh, you're angry at me with your return. Think of how angry I was. I was on the precipice of being champion, and then I got hurt, and now I'm back, and I'm more focused than you can possibly imagine, and I'm going to kill you. Speaking of killing people, then we were in the Old West, and there was a Bandito promo,
Yes.
and as goofy and as weird as this was, I loved it.
I like that. I'm a huge fan of Bandito, so anytime you're getting him back in the mix of things, I think it's a good thing. He's been out forever. I think what was it? Broken bicep? It was not a.
I
It
don't
was,
remember what it was. It was
yeah.
rough, but of the plethora, that's right, plethora, I'm using plethora early here, of masked superstars that AEW seemed to have with your Gravity and Commander and
Hologram.
Fuego del Sol and Hologram. Bandito was absolutely a standout. Like, you want to see what this guy's going to do. So yeah, let's make his return something big, and help people forget about the fact that Penta and Phoenix are probably going to be heading out, or at least Penta's contract is up.
Yeah. Well, it was just announced too that Ray Phoenix is going to be appearing at House of Glory too coming up. So he's doing some independent stuff. So maybe further indication. Yeah, Robert. What else did we have on here?
Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. It was 9:30, so therefore there must be a women's match somewhere. Mike Lawrence is smiling. Yeah, Penelope Ford's return is the enhancement person. She is the Lance Archer of the women's division. It was fine. We got an Anna Jay Mercedes Moné confrontation. I don't know that anybody has this as their potential dream match, but hopefully Mercedes and Anna Jay can have a really strong match like she had with Chris Statlander. And if Mercedes is the woman that just goes in there and winds up having better and better women's matches for that division, that's totally fine.
Right? At least it's putting a highlight on it, that's one thing. So there I won't spoil anything, but there was a Chris Jericho news show like segment hyping up something that happens that will happen at Final Battle, but something happened on the tapings, but I won't reveal anything what happens. We can talk about that later if we want to.
No,
But
I don't need to talk about Chris Jericho. We're good. We've got
okay.
2 things left, and then we can put a bow on this episode of Dynamite. There was a Mariah May interview that got interrupted by Mina Shirakawa,
Yep.
where she hands her the bottle of champagne and is like, hit me to my face or something to that regard, which I like that.
Yeah.
It was simple. It was easy. It's Scott Chaplin. That's
Hey,
funny.
there he is.
Hey, good to hear him. And then in the main event, Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli. Very physical match, very hard-hitting match. Claudio, they're clearly building as this unstoppable juggernaut, and I'm here for it.
Me too. It's high time for it to happen because it's you see how they handled him in WWE for the most part, pretty good, but lots more. His ceiling was unlimited, and I think it's about time they start really leaning into that for Claudio. And so happy.
Claudio as as an unstoppable main event heel is just a perfect fit. And guys,
Ooh,
speaking of perfect
mm,
fits, we're going to talk a little True Classic.
yes,
And based on what Mr. D'Angelo is rocking there, that looks like one of the True Classic black T-shirts
it
that
isn't. It's
they
a
got.
thermal, but I have the underwear on. I do have
I
the
don't
underwear.
want to know about your underwear.
Yeah, I can show it, guys. Yeah,
Please, for all the whatever, please don't. This is the great thing about True Classic. They got t-shirts, hoodies, jeans. They do have the underwear. And the nice thing is everything they make across the board, it's high quality. And when you find your size, you find what fits, you find the right material, you're not going to get enough of this. And the beauty is you don't have to worry about it because they have packs of 3, 6, and 9. We're not talking POC. We're talking packs here, and it's all at an affordable price. You can outfit your entire wardrobe with True Classic. They got stuff that you can wear when you want to go out, when you want to go working out, things you can sleep in, and they all fit really, really nicely. The great thing about these shirts is they're snug in the arms and chest. They're going to give you the right amount of room in that midsection for you. They got long sleeves, they got short sleeves, hoodies, jeans, button ups, joggers, the works. They have a 100% perfect fit guarantee, easy returns. It is trusted by over 4 million customers, including myself and Mr. D'Angelo. And there are over 200,000 positive reviews of what True Classic makes. And we all know if someone doesn't like something, they're going to be vocal. Imagine liking something so much that you're wearing, you go and make a review, write a review, and you're joined by over 200,000 other people. Fall is here. It's fall, winter right now in Florida. It dropped below 70, so it is freezing. But it's time to step up your game. Right now, you can unlock big savings when you bundle packs. Use our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/rumor to save. That's trueclassic.com/rumor. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today. Hell of a graphic you got up there, Dom.
yeah.
And True Classic, a great fit. You know, it's also a great fit having Dominic D'Angelo produce your wrestling podcasts.
Hey, that's right. I do a lot of producing. I produce Working Stiff. I also produce and host One of a Kind with RVD. New episode coming this week. I believe me and Robert planning to record tomorrow. So be on the lookout on social media for when we're going to do that show. But you can tune in to the latest episode at rvdtv.com. You can also subscribe to that channel. Be sure to like and share. And we're on your podcast feed of choice as well. So every Monday at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we do a little earlier, 4:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on rvdtv.com. So join us there. Magnum TA Greg Gagne. We cover a lot. Cover Survivor Series. We cover Mad Dog with Sean. You can check the latest episode out on 4horsemannetwork.com or type in 4 Horseman Network on your podcast feed of choice. You get that, and you get the latest episode of Arn Anderson. Robert, you and Scott are going to get set to record Working Stiff.
Yes, so we recorded a Working Stiff Patreon this past Tuesday where we broke down Survivor Series. I went to an in-depth conversation about Home Alone for some reason. I also recorded a Something to Sports Entertainment with this morning, which should be up right now for you to be able to enjoy for your continuous lunchtime pleasure. Let's go with that word. And Scotty and I are going to be recording this afternoon the latest episode of Working Stiff. We're going to be talking all things WWE, AEW, GCW, the works. It's going to be a blast. That'll be up later on this afternoon, wherever you get podcasts, which is the same place you can get the audio version of this show, Rumor and Innuendo, or you can join us live in video and audio form on a plethora of platforms every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern, including on the WWE Creative _ish X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on ad-free shows, Working Stiff and Rumor and Innuendo. Dom, this was a hell of a broadcast here today for the Continentai Classic. So on behalf of the king of the spelling bee, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpoulos. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Funaki and Takamichi.